Well, good morning and welcome back to the second of 4 segments here on CityLine. And this is a bittersweet moment for everybody in Tacoma. As you saw on the wide shot, I have with me one of our fabulous angels here in Tacoma, and that is Helen McGovern-Pallant. She is the, I'm going to say it, outgoing, oh wow, that just like wrenches my heart. No offense, Michelle. Outgoing executive director for the Emergency Food Network. Welcome, my dear.
Thank you, Amanda.
I know I'm going to have you back on the comfy couch in some iteration, but it just struck me that this is the last time I'm going to have you on the comfy couch as the current executive director. So, deep breath. So let's talk about this. You have to be living underneath a rock, as I say, when I get a little bit sassy, if you don't know what the Emergency Food Network, but let's just play along and say you don't know what it is. So what is it?
We are the distribution center in Pierce County for hunger relief. We give to 72 programs, you know, as large as the Rescue Mission and Nourish, and as small as, you know, Community Food Pantry out in Key Peninsula. We have an organic farm out in the Ording Valley that, with a partnership through Washington Women's Correction Center, we harvest over 100,000 pounds of organic produce. And this year I think we're on track to distribute about 14 million pounds of food through our warehouse in Lakewood, which is approximately $22 million.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you say all of that just so beautifully and eloquently, and as you say it, I start thinking about pictures and people who are being fed, and it's unbelievable the work that you and your team have accomplished during this time. Is there a certain time of year that there is more of a need than another when we look at food insecurity?
Well, their need is pretty consistent.
Yeah.
People tend to think more about helping out during the holidays because that's when you know how important the traditions are for you and
for us.
And family is food. We do have an uptick in the need during the summer when children, you know, there are 59,000 kids in Pierce County who are on free and reduced lunch, and a lot of them the majority of them don't have access to summer meals. So, but the need is all year round. There's about 110,000 visits per month in Pierce County to the food pantries.
So when we think about that need, what types of products are you in most need of?
Well, the things that are at the top of the list are protein.
Always.
I did bring my favorite protein to give to you. I know that after I spoke about this the first time, that you carry it in your car.
I do. I carry it in my trunk.
I just want folks to know that when someone comes up to you and says, "Are they hungry?" They may be. So I offer them a jar of peanut butter, and I've wrapped a knife and a spoon in a napkin just to say, if you really are, here you go. So a protein like peanut butter, canned chicken, canned tuna, some stews, and baby formula, which I know is very expensive, but it's huge need.
Absolutely. You know, and I was going to say, you've taught me so much about food and how to address those people that we run into that are hungry, and to always, you know, keep in your heart and mind that I see you, what's your name, and how can I help you? What do you need right now? And so many times when I ask that question of what do you need, I need food. And even my partner Laura now carries small little things of peanut butter that her 80-year-old mother went out and found for her just to give, that you can just put your finger in. It makes such a huge difference for everybody.
I asked a man on the street the other day what I could do to help him, and he started asking for some food that he might need, and I said, "Do you have teeth?" Because it was baby food, it was, you know, soft things. So I got him the food. Because I won't hand them money, but I'll always offer the food. And when I came back, he said, "Can I ask for one more thing?" And you know what he asked for? Adult diapers. He was incontinent and living on the street. I mean, it just breaks your heart.
Yes.
I can't even imagine. So even a jar of peanut butter will make a difference.
It sure does. It does. You've been the executive director of EFN since 2008. Wow. And have done some incredible things for this organization. And I want to take a step back and I want you to tell me what you're most proud of. So let's start with the food co-op. We've got some pictures.
We formalized the food co-op buying program in the end of 2010, the beginning of 2011. We were fortunate enough to get a $100,000 grant from Washington Women's Foundation. So we used to rely on government food and donated food, but it wasn't a steady stream. So we started purchasing 6 items: rice, beans, oats, a canned vegetable, a canned fruit, and a frozen protein, and said to the food pantries, here's your annual distribution of that food. And then in October of last year, we added dairy because milk is very rarely donated. So since we started the program, we have been able to distribute over 6 million pounds of food. We have a $2 million budget, and we've been able to spend $2.8 million in these years. So, and to give you a visual, because it's like, what does those numbers mean?
Yeah, what does it look like? Yeah.
It looks like 165 semis full of food that we would not have had if we hadn't started the co-op buying program.
How incredible. What a vision you have. And if that wasn't enough, then we also have the capacity campaign. What are you most proud of when it comes to that?
Well, you know, I came from the corporate world. I was a commercial real estate broker. And so the first time I walked into the warehouse, I was immediately like, who owns the land across the street and how can we expand? And so we had a very successful capacity campaign led by one of our board chairs, Sharon Snuffin, and we were able to purchase the 2 acres across the way. So it became a parking lot. It's becoming a community garden. Taking out of our parking, we were able to add a warehouse.
Look at that.
A partnership with Puget Sound Energy. We have a generator, which just kicked on yesterday, by the way, when the power went out to make our food safe. We added a delivery truck. We were able to put a new roof on the building at the farm. We added coolers. We had small coolers that you had to literally unload everything because it only had a man door. So now we have these coolers with these big doors that our forklifts can drive through. So it's been a very successful campaign because our community is so generous.
So generous, but also because you and your team have such a clear vision that you can articulate, and there's such transparency that there's no mystery as to what it is you need us to do.
Pretty simple.
It's very, very simple. How has the mission changed since you've been at EFN?
When I came to EFN, the mission statement was so that no one would go hungry, and it's still our byline. But we've really focused on a consistent, diverse, nutritious. In fact, those are the words that are in our mission now. And so that's, it changes the lens on how you look at things. You know, please don't give me any more top ramen, but can you give me some vegan cheese?
Thank you.
Field Roast is now one of our donors. We get this beautiful,
I love Field Roast.
Beautiful cheese and sausage. One of the relationships, you know, Pierce County, I like to say EFN is the Kevin Bacon of Pierce County.
You are.
Because I was in a room the other day and I said, who's donated? Who knows someone who's had a service? Who's been to Empty Bowls? Literally everybody raised their hands. And I was volunteering at Tacoma Community House one day and walked out with a volunteer who happened to be Fletcher Street, whose family owns oyster mushrooms. And from that day forward, and that was in 2015, about every 10 days, 2 weeks, we get a call from Oyster Mushrooms. The mushrooms are, they can't not grow them, so they have more mushrooms than they have orders. And since 2015, we've gotten 450,000 pounds of portobellos and creminis that are exactly the same as you and I have in our house. So we also have relationships where we get tomatillos, we get frozen hogsheads. We just struck up a relationship where we're going to be able to get some more fish. So
oh my gosh.
And the community is, you know, I think the most important part of my job was just to make people aware.
You did.
And I started from a fabulous platform that David Audie gave me this great foundation and handed off the baton to me. I've run my strength, and now I have the honor of handing it off to Michelle Douglas, who
brilliant,
Oh, I
She
couldn't.
is brilliant.
It's like an executive director's dream.
Oh, you have nailed it, because as we move, as executive directors move, one of the things I know that we think about is, will my programs hold? Will people still be served? Will operations remain intact? Not from an egotistical point of view, but from a sustainability point of view. And when you look at someone like Michelle Douglas and her track record, brava, my dear, because she is amazing. Now, we only have a minute left.
Okay, then I have to say the other thing I've handed off to her
Yes, tell me.
is a superb staff.
Yes, you
I mean, we
have.
have people who have been there for 12 years, 15 years, 9 years, who are passionate about what we do.
Yes. What's next for you?
Well, I have a daughter who lives in Hawaii, and we always go to see her on
How
Thanksgiving.
convenient.
I know. This year we're staying for 3.5 weeks.
I love that.
My Prince George and I have planned some nice ski vacations.
Good.
And I'm going to be volunteering and doing some consulting. And
I was going to say, I don't expect you to disappear, because that's not the fabric that runs through your veins. I first met you at Pierce County AIDS Foundation when I was on the board and you were doing consulting. So I think you have always had servitude and service and leadership in your life. And we will continue to benefit, maybe even more so now that we get to spread you around and put you in different places. But I want you to know that you have meant a lot to me personally and a lot to me professionally. You have been such a example and such a beacon for me, and you've taught me so much about the people around me. If I had an Academy Award, I would hand it to you right now and say, this goes to Helen McGovern Pallant for being a spiritual being, having a few human moments.
oh, thank you so much, Amanda. Well, I know when you give out that peanut butter, that'll be my award.
It is your award. Thank you so much. It doesn't seem like enough, but thank you for all that you've done for Tacoma. And after the first of the year, once you land, I want you back on the comfy couch.
Deal.
Love you so much.
Thank you. Love you too.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to try to compose myself, because I have the YWCA is in here next, and we're going to talk about their legal advocate program. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.